Jeff and Wilma Budrin, and we're making a video in response to an email that the Flow team from the Flow Hive sent to a person who forwarded our video onto them. They made quite a few statements, and I'm just responding to one of them. So in their statement they say that some friends of theirs extracted honey. They got 20 kilos and it took them 1.5 days to do that. Now they say that if you're well organised, you can do it in 6 to 8 hours. I've never really tried to time myself on 20 kilos. So I have a hive out the back that's got 8 frames in it, so I'm assuming they're talking about an 8-frame hive. Our time will start at 1 o'clock. So what I have here is a 2-frame extractor, and that cost me $100 27 years ago. This does a fantastic job. It's just a hand spun, and I'm sure you can get something similar second hand or on eBay. I think you can get brand new ones for about $200 now.
Wow.
Now I have here a bucket with a strainer. Now it's got a mesh called termi mesh that they use that on house slabs to keep termites out of the houses. It's quite a good strainer. I have here a pressure cooker on the hot plate, and the hose comes from the pressure cooker. Well, we bought the pressure cooker second hand, cost me $20. I have an old steam knife, and the return line goes into a bucket. Now here I have a bin, a fish bin, got a honey gate down there, so, and I have a false floor here. This is that stainless steel security mesh that they use on those stiff security doors now. So I cut that to the size of the bin, and that sits on top of there, and I have this apparatus. Then the frame sits on that nail, then I can spin the frame around and decap it. And so I'm going to use that. So nothing here has cost much money at all. 4-litre ice cream dish, going to use that. Plastic scraper. I just want to point this frame out, and I'm going to include this in that video. Now as you can see here, the honey that is capped right up the side, around the top and down that side there. Now I'm able to take the honey out of this. I'll tell you why, because every cell in that half circle is completely empty. So as you can see, there's no honey in those cells. However, when you look through the flow window, you'll see that that's capped on the end, but you can't see if there's a semicircle like that that's uncapped. Now the reason why I'm taking this is because all this honey is what they call ripe, okay, and there's no unripe honey in this frame. So there's really no substitute for actually physically taking the frames out of the hive and inspecting the comb. Quite frequently a worker will lay unfertile eggs in the honey section in the drone comb with the view of making drones. So that's that.
Right, Jeff, your time starts now.
Right, okay. We might start a trend of people trying to do it even quicker. Wouldn't be a bad thing. Got to light the smoker. So because the weather's overcast today and it's quite windy out here, I'm going to use plenty of protection. I might get a bit of wind noise here. Put a bit of smoke across the entrance, and then they'll fan the smoke in. All I do is take the frames out and stand them up on something. Now what I do now is I don't shake any bees off until I've closed the lid. As you can see, I haven't squashed any bees yet. I haven't lifted any heavy boxes. Don't need a bee brush or a leaf blower. I'll show you how to get rid of the bees. Now, all you do is just shake it like that in front of the hive. See? Just shake it like that. Just flick a couple off. Done. Got a box here ready. Now I've got 4 frames in that box. I'm going to take it inside. So we're just going to decap this.
Oh, it's beautiful. Honey.
Yeah, just a
Gorgeous.
beautiful honey. Now you can see the advantage of pulling the frames out. There's no substitute for actually pulling the frames out and inspecting the frames to make sure that they're fully capped. So when your frames are fully capped, you know that the honey is fully ripened. And that's what you want. If you're going to sell your honey, you want your honey to be fully ripened. Two more frames to go here. I want to talk about these frames. Now, I want to talk about why I prefer wax foundation to plastic. Now you can see here, there's a hole there, another one there, another one there, another one, a hole right down there, hole there. Now, the bees didn't leave those gaps because they were lazy. They left those gaps to add. Now there's also a bee space down the side of the frame on each side as well. So it took me quite a few years to work this out, why they leave those gaps. Since doing a lot of research about bee culture, they need to be able to circulate the air through the hive. Now if you look at the entrance of a hive, you'll see illustrations in books about bee culture. Now that if you've got an entrance that's say about 12 inches wide, on a still day you can hold a candle on one end and the flame will flicker in, and you hold it over the other end and it will flicker out. That just doesn't happen by accident, just by bees randomly fanning their wings. That happens because the whole hive works as a team to suck the air in and then push it back out again to de-water the honey. Now, if these frames were plastic, they wouldn't be able to make those added holes to suit themselves. They have to work around the outside perimeter of the frame. Plus, wax and wood, to me, is more natural for honeybees. In the wild, they look for hollows in trees, which are made of wood, and then they make their own beeswax, which is wax. So plastic, to my way of thinking, doesn't fit into the equation. Very important to let the bees, at least they're in charge. If you've got wax foundation, it gives the bees a little bit of leeway to be able to make those holes to suit themselves and to circulate the air through their hive. Plus, if you find a bit of brood on the frame, you can just cut it out before you extract the honey out of it, then the bees will just repair it. With the flow hive, not only have you is one end of the frame hard up against the glass or perspex, it's also plastic, which means the bees can't make any of these holes to suit themselves. Now let the bees think they're in charge, even though ultimately we're in charge, but let them think they're in charge by giving them wax foundation instead of plastic.
Yum.
These frames are ready to go back in the hive.
Bees are very placid, Jeff. Well, they're very calm. And this is a cranky hive, isn't it?
This is a cranky hive, yeah. Admittedly, it's not very strong. Anyway, we'll go inside and finish off. So I'm putting all the cappings in this 4 litre ice cream dish. Now I've got some birds outside waiting for all this stuff. That goes outside. I've left the door open and a few bees came inside. So I'm putting all these cappings in the microwave. I don't want to overheat it. In our microwave, it's probably different for all different microwaves. We're going to give it 10 minutes and that'll warm it up and bring the wax to the top. I'm just going to scoop the honey out of this bin into the extractor.
Honey eaters sound like they're enjoying that honey.
Yeah, I can hear them out there. I'll give this to the birds to clean up. What I'll do is just pour that into there. So I'll just use my scraper to clean the side of the extractor. I'm just getting every bit of drop. Firstly, getting every bit of honey I can. And not only are the birds waiting for us, but there's a few bees out here looking for the honey as well. So I've taken our cappings out of the microwave and I'm putting them under the ceiling fan. So I've got to wait a few minutes for the wax to set before we can pull the honey from under it. We'll clock off now and start again when this is set. For the timekeeper.
Yeah, it's 1:15 now.
We've been going an hour and a quarter, or just over an hour and a quarter, and we're going to come back when this is set. 2:45 now, so we're clocking back on again. So our wax has set under the ceiling fan. I'm just going to pour the honey through the strainer. Anyway, you get the idea what I'm doing here. Not wasting any honey. Now, there's still a lot more honey in that wax, so I'll just let it run through. Give it another 5 minutes. Because I've got another bucket here, I'm going to transfer the strainer to this other bucket. And there's still honey coming out of it, but I'll put it in there. Oh well, I can put that lid on there. I've tabbed the scales to another bucket. I'm just going to see how much honey we get. 20.04 kilos. So we've got our 20 kilos of honey. We've got another 8 minutes to go, and that'll be an hour and a half. So if we allow ourselves 8 minutes to wash out the extractor and the other things, that gives us an hour and a half. So we've got 20 kilos of honey in 1.5 hours by hand. I reckon I'm pretty impressed with that.
Didn't you start at 1?
No, remember we had a half an hour while we were waiting for the wax to cool down, which we had a cuppa in that time.
We had those interruptions.
Yeah, a few interruptions. So take off a half an hour for that. So that gives us 20 kilos in 1.5 hours. And the flow team reckons 6 to 8 hours. Okay, thanks for watching and we'll catch you later. Bye.